Yeah, good morning. It is now time for the Patriot morning show with the Cornbread Man. I was just multitasking here, which is not easy to do, depending on what the multitask is in my old man brain. Listening to two different songs for intros on two different platforms, MP3. I didn't have the same song, and trying to time that out. It's not always the easiest thing to do, but we're here. And so for those on Podbean, you listen to a different song than the intro for the rest. And so they actually come out pretty close. So we'll go. Good morning. Happy Thursday, the last day of July 2025. You'll never see it again. It'll be, as you go throughout today, it'll be dead and gone. It'll be a memory. You're making memories today. What kind of memory are you going to make today? If this was your last day on this sphere we call Earth, what is the lasting memory? It's always something to think about. You know, what am I going to accomplish today? What am I going, who am I going to impact today? How am I going to shine on this day? As we come broadcasting by the banks of the Southern Fried River, as it gently flows through the state of Georgia and empties out into the state of Florida in parts unknown. One day we'll find out where. Maybe there's the pot of gold at the end. I don't know. But right now, the storms have passed. We had storms throughout the state. I think they were heavier in the southern part of the state, but we did get a few up here. Not too bad. Had a good show last night. I hope that you got to catch. I do hope that you got to catch our guest last night. And I'm sorry we didn't have a chance to really promote that. It happened very quickly, and we weren't for sure, because we were kind of communicating in a delayed way. Like, they're busy, and sometimes it was, and we haven't never talked before. So we literally met. We talked about a date. It took us a few days to kind of will you come on? Yes, when, and arranging those times. What time zone are you in? Does this work for you? This not doesn't work. So there's a lot of that going on. And then it was like, okay, it's here. And so we kind of loosely mentioned it and was able to then have them on. What a blessing that was. Pro-life, bringing life, choose life ministry, all those things. Choose Life USA. What a great ministry. They will be back on. We had a very good time with them. They enjoyed themselves. They told me after the show, and they would love to come back. And so ongoing fruit. And we will have the other gentleman, they're going to be sending me the contact info for the other gentleman who does the worship and who has an amazing testimony, they say. We'll have him in as well. Probably within the next couple of weeks, we'll get that announced. And as they send me information on him, and pray for them. They've left, they've already left. They left at 5 a.m. For this big 3-month tour that they're on. They don't own a house because they're always on the road. So I know a lot of missionaries like this. They live out of a camper. They live out of mission houses and whatever, because it's just not feasible to have a house when you're never there. So why take that money and invest in all that? And you're always on the road. So pray for traveling mercies for them as they get out there. Can you imagine we complain about travel just when we have to go to work or something. Imagine being on these interstates, most of the year. They might have 2 months off where they're not doing much at the most, total, throughout not at any one time, but total, various weekends where they stay at different places and rest, relax, study, refill the tank, so to speak. In fact, they were at a missions house where they came from last night in North Carolina. There's a number of those around the country. Great retreats. You can get back into nature. There's just some wonderful things that people have set up to use for that. And they have a part of all that ministry. So what a great message. So thank y'all for share that out. If you watched, if you didn't, go back and watch it last night. Hump Day Views, the first hour. And that's out there on most of the platforms. The ones you would be seeing here have it, except maybe Instagram doesn't hold programs. You'd have to If you're on Instagram, you'd have to flip over to another one. I wish Instagram would change that. I mean, you can archive it, but you can't really save it. That's something I don't like. But I'm not going to complain because we took us forever to get to where we could actually be on Instagram, and then having longevity as far as the amount of time that we were able to broadcast. In the early days, it was straight 1 hour, 30 minutes to an hour, and that was it. They'd drop us. And in the last months, it never drops. We stay as long as we want. We got one other one like that. We're on Locals. If you're aware of Locals, Locals drops you after 30 minutes. They still do that. So, but hey, we get 30 minutes with you. But we do load programs there and other features and stuff like that. So so that they can stay connected. As I said, happy Thursday. Have a great day out there today. Birthdays today. A couple stand out to me as we look at celebrity birthdays. J.K. Rowling, 59 years old. Some people like her work and the eventual movies that came from that work. Singer Zach Brown Band, 46 years old this day. Football player A.J. Green, it seems like he's ancient. Played Cincinnati Bengals, played forever. Was a Georgia Bulldog, yes. The grand age of 36 years old, I think that says 36. Golly, seems like he should be, 56. He's been around. Seems like athletes age quickly. Mark Cuban, sometimes controversial figure, 66, ultra rich. And one other one. Let's get, yes, Wesley Snipes is 62 years old today. So it was your birthday today. Happy birthday. We hope that you are having a good birthday so far. And I'm sure there's only 365 of them. There's millions more. That's just some celebrity ones that stood out to me this morning. Of course, they would be those in history that had it as well. But if it is your birthday, pat yourself on the back and say, happy birthday to me. And, hey, you passed around this earth, around the sun, another year. That's an accomplishment in and of itself to be, to make it. So as you get older, you notice all those people that didn't make it, people you went to school with, people in your family, acquaintances, coworkers. And, as you age, unfortunately, you end up hearing more about that. And it's kind of it's like, wow, okay, well, one day it's going to be me, but I'm still here today. So we just have to keep living and honor those that have passed in their life. If it was someone close to us in our life and what they mean to us, it is, and there's no right, sometimes we don't understand why this one, why that one, why me. Trust God's plan, know that we have another day, and thankfully we have, pretty good health, or even for struggling, use that as a benefit to reach others. The young sometimes don't want to consider eternity. It's important to let them, put a thought on that, because, when young people do pass through tragedy, to, health even. Take a walk through St. Jude's, look at all the kids with cancer, and, some of them do not make it. And, so you can have young people have these diseases, and even very young, not very old at all. And some people seem to live forever, never have to go to the doctor, born at home. It used to be that way. I don't know if anybody does that much more. Midwife, born at home. I used to know tons of people that were born at home. They would say, I was the first one in my family ever born at a hospital. And I think my dad was born at home. If I'm trying to remember, I'm pretty sure my mom was hospital. So interesting, and in some cultures, sure, they probably still do that more than others. I would, there's nothing wrong with that. We can do that, but I like to have medical professionals around just in case. It's such a critical time. Things can happen. Well, the president says he's not going to recognize the Palestinian state that other countries are lined up to do, but it is such a mess. I wish you'd recognize that we need to get the heck out of there, not be involved. I don't know that we're actually involved right now, but we keep having conversations about being involved, and it's a mess. It's a real mess. the UK, France, Malta, all to recognize the Palestinian state. Canada is going to do the same thing, and I'm sure all the Arab nations will probably. Well, I don't know that they would actually, because they would recognize the Palestinian state as being all the land of Israel, and so they may not. But it doesn't matter. This kind of thing it doesn't have any teeth in it, and it's more of a ceremonial thing than anything. They can't make that. What are you going? How are you going to have a state? What are you going to? First, some said, well, Hamas has got to go. They're not going to leave. And where are you going to sign the papers at? Where are you going to? I mean, you have nothing. I mean, there is no state. You have a land. There's no way. There's no way to have a Palestinian state. The state is rubble, dust. There's no housing. There's no banking. There's no power company. There's no water company. All that stuff comes from outside of there. They don't have. It's just, what are you going to do? So it's ceremonial, and I'm not taking sides here. I'm just saying that that's just the the logic of it. What you could sign a document saying we recognize. I think this is just verbal verbiage that has no meaning. It's something to look good out in the world, or have a stance, but there's no teeth in it, and it's just not going to happen. And I'd be shocked if anything come of this. Maybe later, but I don't see how you could even begin to do that now. And first of all, you got to feed these people. I do believe Israel's probably got plans to just access it all. They've already created a buffer zone that said they're not giving back, and there's a lot of talk that they may extend that and just force. They certainly going to take the north of Gaza and force people south. I'm sure they're going to put a lot of pressure on Egypt to take these people in, or allow them to come in and be moved somewhere else. I would not doubt this one bit, and it's going to be an ugly, ugly thing as this moves forward. And Hamas is not going to stand down. So there's no easy fix here. Israel's not going to back off. Hamas is not going to back off. Hostages are still being held. They may all be dead now, but they're still there. There's no functioning anything in Gaza. Very little supplies are coming in, and so here we go. And the hardliners in Bibi Netanyahu's government are pushing him to do this. They were angry at him for ceding to let a little more aid in. He's in danger of losing his government if they pull out. So these leaders walk a fine line, and a lot of it is made up by the religious parties, and they see that, obviously, just saying what they see it as. They see that as more of their land, and they want it back, and this is the way they see it. Others in there would be much more, let's stop this, turn it back over, help rebuild. But the parties that are in power, that are holding that coalition together, they very much support what he's doing. And that's the problem you have in Israel. If you lose the coalition, you go back to early elections and anything can happen. And right now, in the midst of all they're involved with, they're probably not going to do that. And he's probably not going to rock the boat too much and try to navigate. But he's going to get a lot of pressure. He's going to get a lot of pressure from these countries from around the world. And listen, none of these countries we're talking about they don't care about Hamas at all. But they don't want to, nobody has a plan on what to do other than war continuing. Swing to the other side of the earth in Russia, Ukraine. The 10, 12 days is counting down every day. And we will see what will happen with that. Sources leaking out of Russia, whether it's trustworthy or not, probably not. But saying that high-level UK and American leaders not the leaders, but negotiators have met with some people inside Ukraine with a possible plan to get Zelensky out of the way. I think it's a good move to do. I actually do. To get him out of the way, I think he can move forward. Putin's a monster, yes, but Zelensky's not going to be a part of any kind of a peace plan. And Russia's going to keep gathering as much land as they can while this goes on. And the president brought in many deals, in the last 24 hours. But there's also some high-level tariffs that are being levied. But he did set a deal with South Korea. He needs a deal with South Carolina to get rid of Lindsey Graham. But South Korea, he did set a 25%. That was 15 for South Korea, 25% on India. And so where is this going to go? And continuing to bring in billions and billions of dollars, uh, and then try to bring some sort of peace there. And can he get China? That's the question. If he can bring China into the fold, get a deal there, does that allow some more pressure to be put on Putin to stop this, or at least go to the negotiating table? Broski Bear, good morning. I watched Chuck Holt, and he was just in Gaza showing the stacks of millions of meals that are there that you wouldn't want allowed to be deployed to Gazans. I'd rather bash Israel than feed the hunger. Well, I mean, it's a game. It is an absolute game that goes on back and forth. And I've always said this. I've said this, way back when. I mean, there was a time when I didn't really understand all the variables of what goes on there. I have spent 20 years studying and looking at all angles of all of this. I've looked at every source possible, talked to people on the ground. Uh, everybody that's anybody that I could get information from, I have studied this issue. I've studied it from the historical. I've studied it from the news. I've studied it from the spiritual, the biblical, all sides of it. But there is one thing I can say, and there's some blame to go around on all sides, sure. But the one thing can be said is the people that have bought into this farce, which is the Gaza, and really, and notice how quiet the West Bank is. Notice the silence. It's deafening how loud the silence is, if that makes sense. You don't hear anything from the West Bank. That's where the PA is, the Palestinian Authority. Notice you don't hear one peep, nothing. But they secretly, I would say they want Hamas destroyed because Hamas has kicked them out, but they'll never say that. They would love to get entertained being brought back in there. I don't think that's going to happen. But notice how quiet it is. But these people, especially those that are kept in the camps, Janine and others like them, these UN funded, which are funded by us, your tax dollars go to help these people in these camps. They've been in these camps forever. I mean, they've been in there for the last, these go back over 60 years. And they're perpetually stuck in a world where they have no rights. Think about it. Why would the UN stay involved with something like that and have no resolution after all that time? Why? It's homegrown terrorism at the best. All them young men, they get all fired up, and well, it's all Israel's fault, or it's all America's fault. It's all whoever's fault that you have to stay here. That you can't. They have no citizenship. They have no voting rights. They are completely taken care of. Pretty much, some are allowed to work outside of there, day permits. But Israel has to go in. They go in. They have to go battle rattle. It's very dangerous. And so they keep them in squalor. They keep them hemmed in, and it's the longest. If you can't figure this out after that long, it's a joke. That's the question. Why would you do that? Well, of course, to keep the pressure, make Israel look bad, make the rest of the world feel bad. You have tons of money, and the UN just keeps the money train rolling. That's absolutely. And I get it, but the fact still remains, broski. They're hungry. It is a humanitarian crisis, so somebody's got to step up. Somebody. I don't care who it is. I don't really want it to be us, but do we really want that on our hands? Because we've supported this. We've supported these actions because of October's. I get it. But when it does get to be a starvation moment, do we want that on our blood on our hands that way? We've got to do something. And then get it turned over. Do something. The world needs to do something. Where's the UN at? Like you said, if they're a part of it, get them out of there. I think that whole thing is a farce anyway. I think the UN should be dismantled. I would have just liked for the U.S. to take over the property and kick everybody out. We fund 75% of all that. It sits on our soil, and they come here and bash America. I'd like to see them gone. I've never liked that organization. I think it's a joke. Uh, they're certainly not for Americans ever. The UN is a joke, and the UN has no power. It really doesn't. It's the most bloated. Uh, I mean, they get tons of money, and everybody looks to the UN, the United Nations, and look who sits on the Security Council of the United Nations. Countries that are committing crimes, massive crimes, sometimes genocide, are on the Security Council. It's a joke. It's a hate-filled joke of an organization, and all they do is come there and bash America. And I've never liked them. I want to see them gone. And why do we even listen to them? I mean, why? What? It's never pro-American. It's never a support of American causes or anything. It's always to bash us, but to hand us out wanting more money from the American taxpayer to go fund these terroristic activities. When they have had peacekeepers involved, those peacekeepers have turned their head to violence, and in some cases, have been caught helping transport weapons and terrorists. And so, they're actively engaged, and they have been in this region for a long time. And why would we listen to that? It is on the UN's hands, but I get it, broski. But we stick our nose in there, and who's going to catch the blame? We will. UN's not going to be blamed for this. It's going to fall back on us and Israel. That's exactly who it's going to fall back on. They'll never blame the UN. I get it. I'm telling you, I've seen this for years. I've seen it in every conflict, in every battle, and every story. I've seen all that. But the UN is never really blamed. Even if a story pops up, it gains no traction. Nobody ever calls them on it. Even when they're caught red-handed, they just destroy the story and move on, and they keep on doing the same crap. They'll blame it on some rogue worker, and they'll say they fired them. I mean, it just continues on. It just keeps going. That's my point. It's like Epstein files. It just keeps going. It never resolutes. It never gets to an end. And as a country, as an American, as a patriot, I'm tired of it. Been tired of it. And so because we, stay invested in that region like that, it becomes, we will catch the blame on this. We'll never blame the UN. The UN will come out shiny, looking great. Wait and see. Wait and see. That's the way it works. I don't want to be the real estate agent for Gaza. I'm talking about America, not me personally. I do not want America to be the real estate agent, with the for sale sign, for rent signs going up. The United States, I don't know, Housing Authority or whatever, which also is a joke. I mean, look at we can't even fix the things in our own country. What a disaster some of our programs have been. And we're going to go over there and handle that. God help them. I mean, really. Well, I get that. I'm not disagreeing with you. I get all of that. But I'm looking at this from a straight America's involvement. And we've got to get released from that. And, yeah, and we're always walking a fine line between India and Pakistan, absolutely, because of, they hate each other. But we've been able to bring peace there when that looked like it was going to escalate into something bigger. One thing is that India is not going to rock the boat too much. Their financial interest in America is great. Look at all the companies that are partnered up with that are based in India, right? I mean, a lot of your banking, telecommunications, when you're dealing with customer service, obviously we know that it goes into countries that are in India. There's a lot of money being made. They don't want to rock that too much. Yes, they are, but we're not. We're not going to rock it too much with them either. That's just the way I see it. India and Pakistan both are considered somewhat partners, but we're like Big Brother that comes in and tries to keep them from killing each other because they do hate each other. And I would see. I mean, India certainly has a huge, a growing influence of the Islamic influence, the jihadi Islamic influence, but is more so in Pakistan. Pakistan is more radical to me overall the country than is India, although it's growing there. And to me, I get it. You don't want to anger them, but I don't really see that's going to rock too much right now. I don't, because I don't think they don't want a problem. And let's just say this: what the strike that we did on Iran, no matter what you got, they don't have the technology that we have to be able to deliver stuff like that around the world. And nobody's going to complain too much to the point that they would be afraid that something like that would happen. Now, it would take a lot, obviously, in those two regions, but I think they've seen the American power and might militarily, their ability to strike anywhere at any time, and in such a massive way. I don't think they're going to rock it too much against the U.S. And again, peace through strength, whatever you want to say. I think, my opinion, I don't think they're going to try to flex on us too much. Um, well, and I get that. You're past the point of no return with Gaza. I get it. It's a. Here's my prediction. I think I've said this for Israel years ago. They were doing land for peace, land for peace. They made their people move out. Israel is more and more seeing itself as isolated, and they are tired, and they want that land, and they're going to take it. I just see it, and they figure they'll deal with the West Bank later, because I'll tell you, the same thing that's happening in Gaza is eventually going to push out in the West Bank. And if Israel says all the countries are against us, then all the countries are against us. Right now, the U.S. is pretty much running a screen for them. I mean, really, that's what people are mad about. And they say the influence of AIPAC and all the money that's flowing into that's invested in the pockets of American politicians keeps American politics mostly at bay, saying strong things here and there, but really doing nothing, and a smack on the back of the hand, saying now Israel, but Israel continues to go on. Israel gave no stated. The only thing they have said is we want all the hostages back. Now, I agree with that, and I don't blame them. I mean, you should. They want Hamas gone. And in fact, Britain said that. Hamas gone, all the hostages back. So they're lockstep with Israel as well. They're just trying to power play them by saying we're going to support a Palestinian state, which is not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Nobody's ever going to let that go or do that, because once you make agreement, your battle is lost, and you can't keep the terrorism dollars flowing as much. As long as you have an issue on the ground, but they may have overplayed their hand with this, and if they're totally kicked out, if they are, then there's nothing left there to make a state out of. You can keep saying it, you can make all the resolutions you want. You could try to isolate Israel from selling anything around the world. The same things. There's all the boycott, divest, all that's been out there and going on for some time. But as long as they still have countries like America in tow, and there's many others that actually support Israel in this, they just don't speak out as loudly. But there's several, not major, not like a superpower, but there are major countries that do support they support Israel. And in this, as long as Hamas is seen as the person holding the hostage and all that, then if Hamas was gone, then Israel would have no standing. But as long as there is Hamas, and as long as there's hostages, how do you tell them they have to? You could say all they can do is plead the humanitarian part, but the UN is toothless in this. And if, like you say, if they're not getting that stuff out, they've played these games forever. Like I said, there's enough blame to go around to all of them. All right, let's move along. We burned on that quite a bit, and I really want to get back to some other things. But first of all, I want to say, please support the Southern Fried Podcast. Make the switch today. Patriot Mobile using promo code Cornbread. Love that, as well as our other company. Hey, Dave here with the Southern Fried Podcast. We want to tell you some ways all on one page of how you can support the Southern Fried. Of course, you've heard us mention all of them. Here they are together. You know that we love Mammoth Nation. There's the QR code. These American companies that are all gathered together under Mammoth Nation's website. When you go through their portal, you get extra savings. These companies make deals with Mammoth Nation so that they can receive that influx of customers through their portal. I'm a lifetime member. Rob and others affiliated with the podcast are supporting them monthly. And these are great companies. You've heard us mention them recently in some of our programs. They are all American companies making American products. What a great thing. You can support them through this lifetime membership they have deals on, or you can pay monthly. And when you go through the portal that they offer, you're going to receive a lot of discounts. You'll make your money back in the first year if you'll shop there. You don't even have to get out. You could just shop. They'll send it to you. You're going to make the savings. Of course, Patriot Mobile. Boy, the flagship of all of our supporters. We are so love these two companies, the Christian-based and faithful, and love America and love God. What a great thing. Both these companies, Mammoth and Patriot, do a great job of talking about the issues and not being afraid to share their faith. Of course, we have our promo code is called Cornbread. Cornbread. And when you make the switch to Patriot Mobile and use Cornbread, you're going to get a free month of service, and you're going to get great customer service. You're going to be using an American company and a company that's committed to you. Patriot Mobile. Dubby was the first one that we brought on board. We were so excited to have an affiliate. And Dubby, I have used it in the studio many times. You've seen me with that, with the tubs and the shakes and even the cans. And we have our promo code there, Southern Fried, and we're proud of that, 10% off. They run a lot of specials. They'll do a buy one, get one free. Just stay in tune with them, in touch with them as they get on their email list, and they will send you these amazing deals that are will happen for 24 hours or for 1 week or maybe for 2 hours. They will do these things like that. And sometimes you can get even more using Southern Fried. You might even get 20 or 30% off of your order. Dubby is no sugars added. You don't get the shakes. You don't have that falling off that you do with some of the other energy drinks. They're just a great company. They're fun. They do some great artwork, and I love the product. If I'm promoting any of these, you know that I use them and I believe in them. And finally, Podbean. We've been on Podbean for a good long while now. When we go live on Podbean or load up our programs there, it shoots those out to many other MP3 sites. We do go live there as well. Podbean is a great affiliate to have. They're a lot of fun to go podcasting. If you ever thought about podcasting, just have fun with it. You might want to share some recipe, or you might want to talk about a trip. It's really endless. Just plug in and go. It's really that simple. In minutes, you could be online. We would encourage you to do so. Have fun. Podbean, and use those two there. One is the business plan, one's for the personal on the top, which would be more likely what we would see somebody use. And you'll get 1 month free right now. That'll save you about $14. I'm here to tell you, we love Podbean. This is how you can support the Southern Fried. Thank you for all your support and other things that'll be coming online soon, like our coffees. This is Dave and Rob for the Southern Fried Podcast, and yes, the Cornbread Nation. See you soon. And our coffees are online now. We're thankful for that. And take that QR code, follow it, and have it in the studio. Rob has it in his studio. And we're going to take us a while to work through all the blends we have. We're going to try them all. Also have the single-use cups. You can't use that K letter. That is a protected letter. Those all the other ones that do not have the rights to that say single-use. And so we have all the blends. We're going to soon have some of these logos up on our store, and you can get those with coffee mug or shirt or whatever. We came up with a lot of logos. We was hoping to have it on the coffee itself, and when we go local, we probably will have it on some of it. But get you some SFP coffee today. It is great. We're thankful to have it, and we're thankful for all of our supporters. Payworld is another one that we just brought on board, and they are like other pay companies that help you do your financial transactions. In fact, in a lot of ads, you will hear companies say, we're not a bank. And so they use other entities to do transactions with when you're doing business with them. Payworld is one of those that can do that. and they're very affordable. I've looked into it. It's something we may use here at the podcast. We just have already made agreements when they came on board, and so but it's something we're definitely looking at. Payworld, so they're very affordable, especially for small business, and we're in kind of a loyalty program with them as well. So we appreciate it. Don't forget our merch store, which we didn't put up. We'll do that. Thank you to Dean and his mom for their purchase of the Racing Hour shirts. They look great. I'm going to get those pictures up. And I told my wife last night, I said, I got to get me and you a shirt. She's like, yeah. So it's a very affordable store. Our margin is very small there. We get the prices really cheap. We do that on everything. The margins are as small as we can make it. And the shirts are very affordable. We run specials all the time. Actually, Threadless runs these specials all the time. But we actually run some as well, special promotions and stuff. But and there's other things you can get there besides shirts, hats, coffee mugs, different things. We appreciate all of that. Helps the Southern Fried stay active and going, and pays the bills. I mean, let's face it, there is a cost to all the sites and all the things that we do, the StreamYard, the Rumble, and everything else. And we do appreciate Rumble. We're in their creator program. We appreciate them, and it has been a blessing for us. We appreciate all of you that have downloaded the Rumble app and are active in there and helping us. Can't do it without you. And if you so desire, get a premium subscription, do away with the commercials, and you'll also help the Southern Fried. It is Thursday. We're streaming towards Friday, and a couple of tonight. Don't forget sports and the racing show back to back, Jack, and then Cornbread Nation. Cornbread Nation will also be tonight. So got a triple bill for you, and we're soon going to have a couple of other shows that are going to release. Trying to time it out. I've got some folks who are going to be coming in on the music show. We're going to start. I may start with another band. We're going to talk about. I've already got a couple of folks that want to be involved. I need to reach out to them today. Matter of fact, and it'll be the Southern Fried Soundstage. We'll be doing that, and then the history show, and we're going to talk history. We have some folks ready to come on and talk about Mark Thrash, which is a very interesting character that lived around where I live, and lived to be 127 years old, I think it was. And this story is pretty amazing. Got some folks that's going to come in and talk about the Mark Thrash story. We hope to have our other guest on Friday night that we missed last Friday because they had sound issues. They couldn't hear us. They could, we could hear them. They could see each other. So they got to get that figured out. We're going to run a test on that. I think Rob's going to try to do that today. And if so, then hopefully they'll be on Friday night on Front Porch Talking, weekend programming. Southern Talk will be out there, of course, Sunday morning. And we didn't get the news last week. I was under the weather. We'll get back to the news desk, and there may be a surprise or two. Who knows? We appreciate your support of all those things. Hey, I hope you have a great, hope you have a great Thursday. Kick it Thursday, and know that you got Friday facing you, and things are good. So, some people like to use Thursday as the go out night because it's so busy on Friday. Some people choose Thursday to go out and do things. I prefer to go to movies when I go early in the week, like a Monday when nobody's there, and go as early as I can. And I don't have to deal with crowds and people acting up and all those things. And if you're off and you can go even earlier in the day, it's great. Like you can own the theater for a day. And that's fun to do as well. So if you got plans, let us know what your weekend plans are, what you're going to do. You're going to do some travel. So many great things that can do here. Wherever you live, you can go an hour in any direction, and there's probably more to do than you can get done in your lifetime, from the big to the small. And there's so many small towns that offer this unique small town flair, different individualized shops. I love it. You could just, and some people may not like it. I like to go thrift stores. You could go to those, and within 100 miles of where you live, which is not a great amount of time, you probably could spend the rest of your life hitting thrift stores and never run out of them because they're everywhere. Or, certainly you might call a junk store or antique stores or whatever. You could do that with an hour, the whole radius around your home, never run out of them. New ones popping up all the time. And I like to look for those little treasures in places like that. And not that it's worth a ton of money, although you can sometimes get fortunate that way. But I mean, just stuff that I find unique that I like. It's like it's a real find for me. Others like, I don't care for that. But to me, it was a great find. It's that looking for treasure is the fun part. If you go into it just having fun, join your family, your spouse, or whatever, someone that likes to do that, and you go and do it. When you do find something like that, it's like, but it's just the going is the fun part. If you find something, that's just the gravy on top, as we say here in the South, especially. But or the cherry on top, whatever you want to say. That's just the an added bonus. But just to go, I remember one time I had a friend of mine. He had found these books, and he was being very secretive about where they were. He wouldn't tell me, and I'm like, hey, it's got to be. I knew about where he went, so I told my wife one day. I said, I'm on a treasure hunt. They were old books, and he was he so he gave. I knew about which way he went, so I told my wife. I said, well, let's go, and I want to find these books. I had so much fun that day because I had a singular purpose. So we would go in all these antique stores, thrift stores, bookstores. We were striking out all over the place. And the last place that we went to, we got in there. It was a big place. I'm looking around. I just about thought, well, it's not going to happen. And I walked up and I seen this shop, just tucked in this little shop. And I said, here we go. Well, maybe. And sure enough, went in and there they were. And he had not bought all them. He told me he did. He said, I'm coming back. That was fun. It was like a covert operation. So they had doubles and of some of them. So I was able to get a couple, I think 3 or 4 volumes. And I didn't take them all, but I left some for him. But I did go find them. That was the funnest thing to go do. It's like a treasure hunt, and you're looking for clues. And my wife, she could care less about what I was going after, but just the going was the fun thing. She was like, is this it? Is this it? She got into that. That was a lot of fun. I don't know if you've ever did anything like that. That was pretty cool. Celtic blacksmith in the house. How you doing? I got a grad party, an Irish wedding, visit grandma's house, and a welding job. I have a full weekend. Wow, that is a full weekend. A graduation party, Irish wake. I wonder what an Irish wake is like. Now, I'm part Irish. I don't know that. And God bless you for visiting grandma. Nothing like visiting grandma. And a welding job. Got to throw in that man work, a little welding job. Full weekend. That's cool, man. Got an Irish wake. What do they do at an Irish wake? I mean, I get it. But is it a long wake? Like, is it days, or is it you just like visit when you can, walk in, stay a while, and then leave? And is there? I don't want to use any things that people like forever have made fun of, because I'm Irish and I love the Irish people. But I mean, I know we have them here in America too. I'm just saying it's just not a cultural thing. Some of them are full on. I know you wouldn't because you don't do that, but some of them it's a throwdown. I mean, they've got the keg on ice. I mean, we've all saw those things. I mean, but I know some people that's been. It wasn't Irish, so it was a different cultural background. And I'm gonna tell you what, that's a big throwdown. They said it was the best party they ever went to. It was just a shame that somebody had to die to have it, but that's the way they do it. Basically, a casual party in memory, bonfire, food stories, etc. That's cool. Oh, I like the bonfire part. That is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Bonfire, food, I'm all in. Stories, I love stories. That's cool too. How long does it last? Is it like one night? They just get together at one night, or is it multiple nights? What do they do? Yeah, I love that, man. I absolutely love that. I think that's cool. I love, and storytelling is a lost art. Storytelling is a lost art, and that's where we got. I mean, that before recording devices. I mean, people passed down everything orally. They would write some things down, but the oral tradition, the oral stories, was they didn't write those things down. They just all gathered as family and passed it around. It was my blacksmithing mentor's wife who passed. I have to cancel my live stream. I understand, bro. Well, prayers out to them. Prayers out to them. I get it. And sometimes some things are just bigger in life, and that's definitely a big one. So that's cool. I hate that his wife passed, and that's tough. You know, it's tough when you lose your spouse or a child or a parent. You know, it can be hard. I mean, you can lose a lot of people when you're really close to them, but when you lose your wife, man, that's nobody really understands that until it's you. You know, you build up a lifetime of memories. You got somebody to share your joys, fears, aggravations with. You know each other better than anybody knows you, and then you lose that. You lose your person that you talk to and share those intimacies with, and that's tough. And you have to occupy yourself because it's really easy to then just get really down, and some people don't recover from it. You know, in some cultures, not ours, but in some cultures, they believe in multiple wives. And I'd heard recently about a guy. He was from an Asian country, and I didn't know it till recently that he had two wives in back home. He was an American citizen. He had a wife here, and within a span of a few months, what I was told, he lost them all, and he just melted away. His health went down, and he died, and he was never the same. Never the same. The guy, it was like he could look right through you. That person I knew ceased to exist. He would come to work. He would do his job. There was like nothing there. I'd try to talk to him, and it was like zombie. It was weird. I've never seen anything like that. He always had a smile on his face. Always patted me on the shoulder, and it was just it's just like, you know, bad. Wife collecting isn't healthy, Ernest. Hey, I had a friend, coworker friend. He'd been divorced 5 times. This guy was a hoot. And from time to time, he'd have these storage sales. And I mean, he'd have nice stuff. I'm talking nice stuff. And he'd say, okay, I'm gonna do my monthly storage sale. Get your money ready because I'm ready to sell a few things out of multiple storage buildings I have. I say, where do you get all this stuff? Like, where do you shop for it? He goes, shop. He goes, dude, do you think I come out of a marriage empty? It's like, I get it all, bro. I know how to work it. They're more than willing to get rid of me and all the stuff just for me to be gone. And he says, I always come out ahead. He said, I'm not looking to get divorced, but when I do, I come out ahead. And so he'd have these big sales. And I was like, dude. Oh, why do you think these Hollywood freaks last that long? Well, as they get rid of them quickly. Yeah. Well, it's like the groupie thing, right? And it's the hardest lesson to learn. But the lead singer, whoever, we'll just use lead singer, they're notorious for it. They meet some girl in some city and they say, oh, I want you to travel with me. And of course, they got a wife at home. But they travel with this groupie and they think they're all in. And one day, at some point in the future, there's an airline ticket, if they're lucky, but an airline ticket back home. And that's it. They have no access to that person no more. It's over. That probably means the tour is fixing to wrap up. And they don't even have a wife. But Roger Daltrey of The Who, his wife, her family came up through the theater and stuff. And I'm not saying that you should do this. I'm just saying that she said, I understand while you're on the road how things are. I grew up in the theater, but don't bring anything home to me. And I don't want to hear no kids knocking on the door saying, hey, daddy, but I understand how things are. Just don't bring anything home that I don't want. And he said that's the secret to their marriage. Roger Daltrey of The Who. But Celtic blacksmith. Yeah, I guess he just kind of been processing everything on the porch, sitting in deep thought. That's what his son told me anyway. Yeah, it's hard. It's absolutely hard. Uh, you know, but Ernest sounds like the secret of his success is not to collect wives. I think the Celtic blacksmith has got that in his model. Not really to get married or anything, just to have a friend when needed, for dinners and such, and going out and having fun, but nothing too attached. I'm not losing the forge. They'd have to sign a prenup, right, Steve-O? The forge will always belong to me. You're not getting my shop. You're not getting my hammers. What would be the most difficult, Steve, to lose in your blacksmithing line of work? Not that you want to lose anything, but if you came home, what would be the more devastating? The forge being gone, or the anvil, or the hammers? What would be the thing you'd be like, oh man, I'm not even going to do it anymore. I'm so sick about this. Not that you want that to happen. I'm just saying. And I doubt anybody's picking up the anvil and taking off with it anyway. So can you imagine some dumb criminal? Hey, what's this? Oh, it's heavy. It's got to be worth something. Let's go. Flops around in their vehicle, tips it over. They crash out. What's this? I don't know. It's belonged to my grandfather. I don't know what it is. Reminds me of those people who slam into the store and take the ATM. Have you seen those videos? And then they'll catch them at another place, and they never get into it. It's like it takes them forever to get the ATM box out. Then they have the hard time getting it loaded up. I have seen videos they just drug it down the road and got stopped because the sparks that was flying off of there. It's like the Keystone Cops. I mean, they're idiots, and then they can't get into it. I mean, really, how much money's in there? A lot of times they'll stay pretty low. Steve-O says, actually, I always wanted to get married and have kids. Just can't find a woman worth starting a phone with that I click with. I understand, brother. And probably my anvil. That's the soul of the whole thing. I was kind of thinking that, but I didn't know, if it was the forge. But I get it. The anvil is, that's the thing that you're beating all that stuff on and bending stuff and making stuff for. That's cool. I ain't forgot about my promo code either. I just be patient with me. I do want to make a purchase. I appreciate you, brother man. Imagine how many hits if you've slammed on that anvil since you've had it. It's taking a beat. That's what it's there for. Ernest says, my single friend has been trying to find a woman to settle with for years. Yeah. Well, it is hard to find. Clicking with someone is very hard, and you get stuck in your ways, and there's a lot of compromise in it, but if you find the right one, it's worth it. But if you don't, then it's like hell on earth. I mean, but every time he dates a woman, he finds some big flaw that breaks it up. Oh, he's probably looking for the flaw. Do you know that she does this? I can't marry her. She snorts when she laughs or something like that. Steve says, we say the anvil is where everything is imprinted, all the cuts, burns, and cussing, all the laughing, triumph, and perseverance, all the stories of the blacksmith's career is hammered into his anvil. That ought to be made into a song, dude. I like that. Ernest Dempsey says, I told him his case is hopeless because there is a thing called, there is nothing called a perfect woman or a perfect man for that matter. And true, if you're looking for the flaw, you're always going to find it. We all got flaws. No, we don't like to consider that. But we've all got a flaw. We all have something that we, You know, we do something. And when you get married, you find out what that flaw is pretty quick. After the honeymoon period is over, one day your new wife says, I love you. I really do. This one thing you're doing is driving me crazy. If you could just change that, everything would be good. When me and my wife first got married, she was very jealous, and that comes with it. But yeah, other women would be jealous, but she was jealous of my hobby, which at that time was playing basketball, and she hated the time that I would go spend on the court. And my mom told her, said, "Hey, listen, good old mom." And my mom loved her as a daughter, so like, it wasn't a bad relationship at all, and they loved each other. My mom's been gone for many years, but she said, in this way, she said, "Listen, you got to understand, he's been playing basketball his whole life. He's only known you for a short time. He has a closer relationship with that. He's always done it from the time he was very young. He's played. That's his way. He loves this. He loves to play it, and it's kind of a way for him to get along with his thoughts and go play it. I'd just go shoot baskets by myself. I'd play games, but I would just go shoot hoops. That's a great therapy for me back in the day. I loved it. I could play it for hours by myself. And I've always needed that kind of a deprogramming. I still do it. And my wife finally learned over the years. And one, she developed time that she enjoyed me going and doing that. I've always needed time to process things and be alone. And make sure you don't marry a woman who thinks women can be pastors. What a mess. Well, no, I don't. That would never happen. So my wife would say, no, she'd have a fit. Somebody mentioned that to her. When we first went to church, my wife was so very shy. That sort of, it's a small church, so they were like, come on out and sing in the choir. And she would be so shy. She was just moving her mouth. I swear there wasn't any sound coming out. She was so scared. But she finally got over that. I was a basketball player. I was. Your brother was a basketball player. But since he married, he became the ball his wife dribbled. Oh, I love it. You're killing me this morning. I love it. I haven't played basketball in years. The knees. I've shot a few hoops with the kids and grandkids, and then finally said, "Here's the ball. Y'all have fun." I got tired of chasing the ball. I hadn't played in the ball. My shooting wasn't as good as it used to be, and got tired of chasing the ball. And after a while, the grandkids figure out, "Oh, we'll let him chase it too." I'm like, "Okay, y'all have fun." So I'll leave that to my son and my granddaughters. Sometimes they'll do that. Not as much anymore, though. But boy, I spent many, many an hour on a basketball court. There's no doubt about it. Played in a lot of games, backyard style, neighborhood to neighborhood. I mean, hard, cutthroat kind of basketball, where it was the foul was in everybody's opinion, and usually end up in some sort of a physical, verbal, both disagreement. I am a family man, and I enjoy that, my friend. Thank you. I've been married, a long time, nearly 40 years, and I enjoy the role. Now that I'm in the podcast, you know, uh, when I was young, I don't think early in my marriage I could have done this. My wife would have never wanted me to be with her. Not that she doesn't miss me. I have those times I spend with her, but I spend a lot of time in the podcast. So, but she enjoys. She's come to the studio, but she doesn't want to be on screen, and she'd rather just play her little video internet games, or she likes watching cooking shows. So that's her thing. She will watch. She's always looking for a new recipe, so she'll spend hours looking at She follows several people, and even we're together, she'll be sitting there watching them. So she loves that kind of thing. So that's cool. She has those things she likes. She likes the Facebook. That's big for her. And as she slowed down, it's nice. She stays connected with people through the social media, and you got to do what you got to do to stay connected. Yeah, cooking shows. It's not for me. Position, I was more of a forward, small forward. Now, but you got to understand, depending on who was at the game, I've had to play center and power forward and all that. Uh, I was in the military one time. I'll say this, and I wasn't a true center, but I could play the position. I just didn't have the height. But we were playing against this, other group, and there was a guy who was very tall. He was out of South Carolina, and he was eating up. I was playing, but I was playing more of a. I had a pretty good shot, so I was playing like the shooting guard. I was playing against some really good tall people, and I'm 6'1", a little over 6'1". Well, probably now 6'1" since I've shrunk some. But anyway, broski, I hit a few shots, but our center was getting eat up by this guy, and the center was like I'm seriously, he was like 6'10", and he was swinging elbows, and this guy was backing out. This guy was having his way with him. So finally, I just got fed up with it, and I went in there. I could tell the guy didn't have the heart for it anyway, and I was like, "Hey, switch with me." He said, "Really?" I said, "Absolutely." He's like, "You can have it." So the guy's got that look in his eye, like, "Oh, fresh meat." So what they were doing. They were oscillating, and they would put him down there. Well, the next time they brought that ball in, I knew I was waiting on that elbow, and when it did, I just had my hand up. When he brought the elbow back, I just caught the elbow and I shoved him. And then he turns around, slams the ball down, and says, "What the blank was that?" And I said, he said, that's not legal. I said, "Neither is what you're doing." He said, "Oh, that's the way it's going to be." I said, "That's the way it's going to be." And he tried it again, and we about got in a big fight. And anyway, I scored on him a couple of times too, which he couldn't believe because here I am. And I had a pretty good little half hook. And he was blocking shots left and right too. He was a good player, but his height was, he had long arms. He was a classic center. And I knew how to back him off. And I had some really good moves too. I knew how to, I come from the Kevin McHale. I was not a Boston Celtics fan, but Kevin McHale I studied because he was a guy that couldn't jump. And I couldn't jump. I didn't have no height on my jump. But all those moves, I studied them, and I used every single one of them. Moses Malone was another guy that I studied. And so I usually got stuck at center. I got stuck out of position because nobody wanted to play against these really big guys. And I got used to doing it. And so I learned how to go up and over like a Kareem. Not a full hook like Kareem. I wasn't good at that, but I had a really good half hook. And I had a great fadeaway, if I may say so. So I learned how to dribble down, push them off, and then do the fadeaway. And so I'm scored on this guy. Anyway, we won the game. It was just a game, backyard, so to speak. It was on the asphalt. So I went to my bunk. The game's been over. All of a sudden, this guy and two other goons are coming my way towards my bunk, and I'm thinking, oh man, it's on like Donkey Kong. I got not only the 6'10" guy, I got two other guys that are bigger than me, and I could even hear some guys going, "Oh, Cordell, you got trouble." And so they walk up, and I'm sitting here like, I just listened. Yeah. They said, "Cordell?" I said, "Yeah." I was waiting on the fist to start flying. The big guy, the 6'10" guy, he stuck his hand out. He said, "I want to shake your hand." I shook his hand. I said, "What for?" He said, I don't have many that resist come at me like you did. Because that takes guts. He said, "I don't know if you're crazy or you got a lot of guts, but I like your moxie." He said, "Next time we play, I want you on my team." I said, "Okay, man." I was like, he did ask me, though. He said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Georgia." He said, "Y'all don't play right in Georgia." I said, "Well, what I'm seeing from South Carolina ain't too good either." I don't know what that was. We were both in the wrong, but he said, "Most people won't stand up to me." He said, he said, you may be crazy, but I like it. I was thinking, I'm probably crazy too. Why am I putting my life on the line for a basketball game? That's a competitive spirit. You don't want to put up, you don't want somebody to, get away with that crap. It's like, put me in, coach. I'll take this dude on. Height pays in basketball. It does. That's why Jerry Nadler would never play basketball. Jerry Nadler's got a lot of other problems besides that. I really enjoy small forward. That was really my favorite position to play because I had a really good perimeter shot, and then I could also drive if I had them out far enough, so I could pull them in. Of course, I was not the size to play the power forward. You got to be enforcer to play the power forward position, and center. You're just keeping everybody out, rebounding, and I did work on rebounding. I was a good rebounder. I really did box out. I worked really hard. When I was first started playing, I was very shy, and I don't know. I had this phobia about always air balls, and so I got really good at defense. So that I noticed. I got really good at tipping the ball away on dribblers. I looked for their flaw. I would look for the thing that they did to expose the ball, and I'd slap the ball off of them. I was really good at that, and I boxed out really well because I wanted to get the rebound and get it to our guys and kick it out and get going. And so I worked really hard on that. On the shooting side, air balls would just drive me crazy. Like everybody would be like, And so I used the backboard. That's how I started playing when I was young. And I got really good on the backboard. I could spin that ball from anywhere on the backboard in, and from any angle. I worked on it for hours at home, just on and on and on. And then later, I developed the shot, and had a guy we used to play hours and hours. We'd play around here, and he was more of a shooting guard and a guy. But anyway, he would always say, "Don't let Cordell get open at 10 to 12 feet. Don't leave him open. He's got a deadly shot from that range. Any further out, it would go down. But 10 to 12 feet, that was my zone. I would move around. I would get them caught up looking the other way, and I'd back off 4 feet. Here come the ball, and I had this thing. I could never shoot, and he'd also say, "Don't let him take a step," because I always had to take the step to shoot. If the ball came to me, I wasn't good there, but if I could get one step, deadly. I could rip it. And I worked on that for, oh my gosh, just in the rain, cold, sleet. I'm not even kidding. I played in all of it. I would do that for hours, and just loved it. Ernest says, well, now there could be the court on which ball is played, or maybe the trampoline. Did I play basketball with a lot of colored kids growing up, or was it mainly with the whites? Well, in my neighborhood, it was all white, but I would go to the rec. And let me tell you what, I had a ball with them because they were great jumpers and they could get a lot more height than me. But again, what did I tell you? I had the Kevin McHale moves down, and it would drive them crazy. They would call me the crazy cracker or crazy white boy, and they would say, "You're scared. You're scared. We're gonna block your shot." And I would say, and I would score on them. And I would frustrate them because they were so ready to jump. I could get them. I could always get them off the floor, and either I'd take the shot as they were coming back down. I had to be quick. They could move fast, or I'd kick it out, and then somebody would shoot because they'd always double down on me. They would make it their life's mission to block my shot. So I had them. I just used their ability against them, and I couldn't hold up. But at the end of the day, they didn't like it, but they had a mutual respect. But I never got the pat on the back like, "Hey, we want you on our team." It was never that, but it was that look like, "Man, we'll get you next time." But I loved it. If they were a leaper, if they were a dunker, that was my favorite kind of guy because I always knew I could get them up. I had a lot of fake moves. I'd do different ones. I never had a pattern. I didn't pre-plan it. I just worked at whatever they offered. I had moves for that. And if it wasn't there, I'd kick it out and then try again. And so it was effective. You got to utilize what you have, and you got to stay. That's all sports anyway. Pushing you into what you're not comfortable with is the name of the game. You're trying to keep a player, whether it's football, basketball, whatever it is. You're trying to baseball. A pitcher's always looking for that spot that you're not comfortable with, and he wants to expose that. That's in anything. And everybody has a strength, or most people do, and you're trying to keep them from that spot on the court, or let them get that. And that's why you body them up and you push them. I used to play in football because I wasn't fast. I wasn't slow of foot, but I wasn't really fast. And so if I knew a guy had a great jump, like they could be top speed, that little bit of separation is what causes the pass to get in there. So what I would do is I would always block them off the line, always, and then I would body them up the field, and it would make them so mad, not holding, but you come up there and you block them and you strike them and knock them back a foot or two, and by that time you've disrupted whatever play was in place. You still got to work it. Then they're working underneath. Anything they had long is gone, so they're working underneath then. I had one guy. He was a really good football player. He used to get so mad at me, and I'd hear him telling his team, I can't get off the line. Cordell keeps, and they would say they would say he's scared of you. He's scared of you. I could hear it all. They say we'll run a screen for you or something. And anyway, I love defense. That was really my favorite thing to do, was defense. I played wide receiver in football, like a tight end wide receiver combo. If I'd had a stronger arm, I really enjoyed the quarterback position, but I was more of the tight end type. So, well, I got to get out of here. I've enjoyed the talk. Y'all are great. I do got to go to work. So we'll see you tonight, hopefully. Have a great day. Talk about sports. We're going to be 6 o'clock, the racing hour, 7 o'clock. We're right thereafter. We might even start at 5:30. We may start at 5:30 today because we got 2 shows to get in, and then Cornbread Nation. Have a great day. I got to get moving that way. And we appreciate you very much. Thank you for everybody stopping in. And hey, enjoy this day. If this was your last day on this earth, make it count. Absolutely make it count. You have a great day too, Ernest. And America first, baby. Let's get it all home. Let's get out of all these entanglements out there. Right, broski? Let's get America first. And let's take care of the home team. I think we all want that. I know I do. We get some music pulled up and we'll go out and